Median Strategies published a poll showing Francesca Hong up 23 on David Crowley. It was fake. Karen Bass up 12 over Nithya Raman, also fake. The firm admitted it in writing, pulled every release, locked the doors, and won't give up one name. Bass won by 5 points. Hong lost outright. Now listen to what they called it all. A short-term social experiment. And that's the firm's own written statement for poisoning 2 American elections. And here's why this matters for you and your family. Local news ran those numbers. Social media ran those numbers. Nobody made one verification call. Laura Trump went on Fox Business and laid out the mechanism cold. And I'm going to play her exact warning about 2016 internals. Then I'll show you the sentence where Median Strategies says it's declining interviews and hiding every single name. Yeah, that's what they're doing. You see, chasing down a firm that vanished without leaving one name behind will drain a man, and I've learned that the hard way. That exhaustion is not a character flaw, it's cellular. Studies point to your mitochondria as the batteries that power everything that's running down. That's why I dug into red light and near-infrared light therapy, one of the most well-researched tools out there. Health journalist Jonathan Otto walked me through the science, and I started using it myself thanks to him. It helps cells produce more energy, reduces cellular level stress, and supports natural repair processes. Red Life, that's the company. Their products have 9 clinically studied wavelengths with dual chip technology, twice the power of standard devices, built to actually work. Go to myredlight.com/NNN. The link's in the description below. Use NNN Rep 25 for individual items, NNN Rep 30 for bundles. 30% off bundles, 25% off individuals. Stock is limited. Now back to the phantom pollsters. Not seeking publicity or attribution for the individuals involved. That's the line that cowards hide. And look at the numbers, how they got inflated. Nithya Raman, DSA, Francesca Hong, DSA. Back in August, we showed you the DSA coalition on this show. And now we'll get to the posts. Let's dive in. This polling firm, now admitting to fake polls. My View host Laura Trump warns fabricated election polls can influence voter behavior after now shuttered firm called its fake surveys a social experiment.
Polling sometimes is not typically designed to just reflect sentiment. Sometimes it's designed to sway elections. And I think you go back to 2016 and look at all the polling, especially for Donald Trump. I remember looking at those polls back in 2016, and we all knew from our campaign our own internal polls reflected a lot different sentiment from the American people. But whenever you see that your candidate is either very far ahead or very far behind, sometimes you're not really incentivized as a voter to get out and actually vote. And that's why this is such a problem.
Of course it's a problem. They're manufacturing reality just like the social networks do. Fake polls are one kind of predetermined outcome. Ted Rall has another. A DOJ whistleblower named Haley Van Arum says the anti-Semitism probes were decided before the evidence ever came in. DOJ whistleblower complaint, who quit last year after being assigned to the anti-Semitism probes. They were predetermined.
Complaint through the whistleblower process at the Department of Justice. And she quit last year. She was assigned to these anti-Semitism probes as part of the Trump administration involuntarily. When she got in there, she found that the outcomes of the investigations were, quote, predetermined without regard to evidence in a political mandated effort, end quote, to shake money out of schools through settlement demands and funding freezes, that the anti-Semitism thing was a complete pretext, and also that there was a strong racism motivation here, that they specifically, quote, targeted some Middle East studies faculty for the content of their work and other professors for their Muslim faith. And many of those professors were fired.
He says professors were targeted. Producer Robbie West got a demand of his own. Apologize to God's chosen people or lose the church account.
My attention of your anti-Israel bias. And if you're going to continue working with First Baptist Church, You must publicly apologize to the Jews, to God's chosen people.
Here's my apology.
And you must do so on the show that you used to slander the God's nation of Israel. This is
It's your big chance, Robbie. You have the mic right now. Go ahead.
It is.
Apologize. Repent.
I just sent him the link. Fuck Israel. And fuck you and your apology.
Wow. His on-air answer, F Israel and F you and your apology, I'll never do it. Wes says he served the cross and not the star. Ted Rall went to the Chatbots with a straight historical question and says every one of them refused to answer it.
So I was researching that, and all of them, when I said, please compare this tactic with similar tactics that Nazi Germany might have used during World War II, and they were all programmed to say that there is no such comparison. Israel is engaged in the process of going after a violent military adversary. They're defending themselves from 2023. And I'm like, I didn't ask you about, I'm not asking you about October 7th. I'm not asking you about that. I'm just saying, did Nazi Germany ever go in to do similar things? So when I rephrased the question and I said, take out the comparison with Israel. And I'm just like, okay, did Nazi Germany ever go in and detonate buildings after saturation bombings in areas that it occupied? And the answer is yes, it did.
He says he read Columbia's detailed anti-Semitism report carefully, saying there's nothing there.
Looking into it, I mean, Columbia is the school that is deemed to be, even under the DOJ whistleblower stuff, like the likeliest to actually have some truth to the anti-Semitism claims. So I read the detailed Columbia report on anti-Semitism. I read it very carefully. There's nothing there. Nothing. It's long. It's kind of there are words, and there are many of them, but there's literally no there. If you like.
The hosts say that a polling firm should be prosecuted for flooding the fake polls in the market, calling it election interference.
The excuse after the fact of, we just were running an experiment. A, I don't know that. B, what I do know is you flooded fake polls into the market that could have had outsized effects on the election itself. I would even make the argument that it was election interference. People could have looked at that. It's very possible that people looked at this El Said poll, for example, and said, well, he's 14 points up. I don't need to go to the polls.
Right.
Okay. It could have had a depressing effect on the vote.
Absolutely.
You shouldn't be able to screw with elections in this way. And the excuse after the fact, well, we're just running an experiment. Sure.
Right.
It's you go into the store, steal something, you walk out, they catch you, and you're like, I'll just check in whether your security worked.
Let's compare, right? Russian so-called interference in the 2016 election boiled down to about $200,000 in Facebook ads by a private, non-government affiliated troll farm in Russia called the IRA, the Internet Research Agency.
$200,000 in Facebook ads. Got called an attack on democracy. Chris Cadence has the firm's own admission. The Hong poll showing 23-point lead.
Polling firm that released data showing Hong defeating Crawley by 23 points admitted that the data is fake and is shutting down. Polling firm shuts down after admitting to delivering fake data. The polling company called Median Strategies was created as a short-term social experiment to examine how purported polling information could enter and spread through the political information ecosystem without independent verification. The company told the LA Times, "We are not seeking publicity or attribution for the individuals involved in our declining interviews." Median Strategies has concluded its polling project and will not publish additional polls, they said in a statement. All previously published polling releases have been withdrawn and should not.
Short-term social experiments. Here's more.
I'm not sure if there is legal ramifications of this, but we definitely need to clean this up going forward, because if an independent company can come in, report some data that is fake like that, what are we really doing with these polling numbers? What are these polling numbers drawing from? It's like we need more resources or information on how are they doing this polling.
Where are the numbers coming from? He says fake polls keep voters home, and the people behind this one probably should be in some legal trouble. I agree.
And also, polling be influencing some people to be like, oh my God, well, this person is going to win so much, I might not even get up to vote. Or my person is losing by so much, why am I even going to get out to vote? It is not good ethics. And the fact that these people wanted to do it as an experiment, it's just like, this is shameful behavior. I don't know if they can get in trouble legally or not. They probably should.
Yeah, they probably should, right? Armstrong Williams puts names to the damage.
Median Strategies put out a poll showing Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass up 12 points over Nithya Raman, a Democratic Socialist of America member running against her. It put out another one showing Francesca Hung, also DSA, leading David Crowley by 20 points in the Wisconsin governor's race. Local news picked up the numbers. Social media ran with them. And now the company says the whole thing was a social experiment to see how fake polling spreads without anyone checking it first. Bass ended up winning by 5, not 12. Crowley beat Hung by a hair, nowhere close.
So Bass won by 5. Crowley won outright. Williams delivers the verdict on what this really was.
Call this what it is. Democracy is not social experiment. This is manipulation, and it worked exactly as designed because outlets ran with numbers nobody verified. Whether you agree or not that this really was a so-called social experiment, it succeeded in showing the public something it already knew, that posters are often wrong, many are biased, and the media will choose whichever poll helps narrate its agenda.
I would add, not a social experiment, a social crime. $200,000 in Russian Facebook ads got 9 years of hearings, indictments, and congressional panic. Median Strategies seeded fabricated polls directly into Los Angeles and Wisconsin, confessed in writing, and walked away anonymous with a shrug from the same press corps. You see what they did here? Shoplift get caught and tell the cop that you were just testing security. Names. Every name behind Median Strategies. And every editor who ran those numbers without one phone call owes a correction at the same volume as the original story. And folks, you already knew. You knew in 2016 when the poll said one thing and your own neighborhood said another. So tell me in the comments, what poll did you watch get blown to pieces on election night? Share this with a guy who almost stayed home because the race wasn't close. Because that's the whole game. A number on a screen talks you out of showing up. Don't let it. Trust your eyes, trust your neighbors, and vote anyway. And if you want the stuff nobody's laundering before it reaches you, listen up. Median Strategies got to hide their names. We don't hide ours. And we don't wait on somebody else to verify reality for you. Text White House to 844-840-4963. Next News Network holds credentials inside that building, and every night what our people pull from those halls lands on your phone with nobody at YouTube standing in the doorway deciding how much of it you get. And of course, reading it is only the first step. Some of you want a post to hold, an action to take. So text SIGNAL to that very same number and enlist in the Next News Signal Corps. Real missions, real ranks, and you move up as you work to save America. So get in tonight.